Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today for today's amazing CMA Showcase video. And I'm really excited to be joined by Amy Searle, who's going to be talking to us about dream therapy and the way that she works with people, among other things that this wonderful lady does as well. So, Amy, thank you so much for joining today. It's really lovely to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. It really is. So, Amy, without further ado, I know that we don't have too much time because we try to keep these short and sweet. Can you explain to our viewers and our listeners what you do to help people? How do you work with people?
Yeah, so I'm a dream therapist and dream interpreter. So I offer three different services. So I offer dream therapy sessions, one-off dream interpretations, and I also do dream workshops teaching people how to journal their dreams, dream symbolism, so that they can start looking at what's affecting their sleep. Because I believe everyone should be nightmare free. My Everyone should have a good night's sleep. And if you have bad night's sleep, it doesn't just affect you, it affects the whole house. Your energy vibe comes down, everyone around you then gets moody. If you're in a mood, energy's catching, your kids get moody, your pets get moody, your husband gets moody, all because you've had a bad night's sleep, or you're stressing over a nightmare or a repetitive dream that's driving you insane. I help parents with kids with night terrors. So we work through on therapy sessions and one-off interpretations.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that's absolutely fantastic. So, how do you do this work? Does somebody actually have to come to you, or can
Yeah,
you help them online?
I do most of it online because I'm disabled, so it's easier for me to do Zoom rather than travel. So I do a lot of it on Zoom or over phone calls. So what I suggest to everyone is to do my free discovery call, which is 15 minutes, because sometimes it's not dream therapy you need. Sometimes it's actually a sleep consultant who I collaborate with one and we cross pollinate. So if it's more sleep related than it is dream related, then I always say don't spend the money until I know that it's dream related that you need. If it's sleep related, I have a consultant to pass you on to.
Wow. Amy, that's absolutely amazing. I think that is so, what you've just said there is so important because
Mhm.
I think, the field that we work in, there are a lot of skeptics out there that will say, oh, you practitioners are just, sort of taking money from people and so on. But look what you've just done there. You said, look, I need to know that this person is somebody that needs my services. If not, I'll suggest they work with somebody else. And then,
Yeah,
possibly then you'll take them over, if that problem hasn't been resolved and it's in your wheelhouse. So I think that is so admirable and so ethical. So thank you for explaining.
it's so important, and especially when it comes to dreams and sleep. Sometimes it's just that your sleep routine's out. So that's not my field of expertise, but I have a good friend that I work with. She comes on my podcast sometimes, so I pass them over to Jade. And Jade does the same with her clients. If her clients, because she's a sleep nanny, if their kids are having sleep terrors, she sends them over to me. And it's just so important. And it's also important for my clients to know they can work with me. If we don't get on in the discovery call, there's no point having a therapy session with me, because you need to gel with your therapist. You need to get on.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is so absolutely true. It really, really is. Here at the Complementary Medical Association, we do have a lot of members of the public contacting us saying, how do I find a practitioner? And one of the first things we do say is you've got to sort of audition your practitioner to make
Yeah.
sure they are somebody that you want to work with, because it is a really collaborative approach, isn't it, in
Yes,
complementary
yeah.
health in that
And
way.
with dream therapy, it's not just like the therapist putting in the work, you have to put in the work as well. So you need to be able to work together as a team to get through that.
Yes, absolutely. Do you find that there are quite a lot of clients who are sort of almost expecting you to wave a magic wand and they
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to put the work in?
Yeah. So a lot of people think that one session and my nightmares will be gone. It doesn't work like that. I
No.
have to help you retrain your brain, find out the deep root, because sometimes with dream therapy, it's linking your subconscious and your conscience.
Mm.
And the stuff and the trauma that we hide away in our subconscious that we don't even realize is actually a trauma, and it could have been something that happened to you as a kid, and you just tucked it away in your memory bank, and it's tucked away and you never thought about it again, but actually it's a trauma that in your dreams it's coming through and it's affecting your sleep because it affected you more than you realised.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to work with me, and it's normally a few sessions
Yes.
to get to a point where
Yeah.
you can sleep and retrain your brain.
Yeah. This is fantastic. It's such an important thing. And can you help with people with what they call night terrors? Because those are very
Yeah,
different from normal dreams, or sort of
yeah.
like a nightmare. So
So
explain a bit
we
about.
can help retrain the brain by writing down the night terrors, and reinforcing it. It's like positive reinforcement. So in your head, you rewrite that dream over and over again, but in different ways. So changing it to more positive things, and then your memory starts to see that, and you just read it and over, and you can retrain your brain to get rid of the night terrors. And
Got
sometimes it's nice for when I work with children, just for them to talk to an outsider to get it all out. Because sometimes they don't want to talk to mum and dad. I mean, I have a child, she has counselling every now and again. As a child, I had counselling. I didn't want to talk to my parents. I bottled it all up. So as a therapist, I've been through counselling. I've had therapy before. So I understand like where my clients are coming from.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, that is so important. I think it's really important that we as practitioners, can walk our talk, and and I think particularly everybody in counselling needs to be in supervision and so on. It's absolutely crucial because we listen to our clients, and we're taking on a lot of massive trauma. I'm always really shocked at some of the things people go through in their lives that you would never even imagine. Seeing the person walk into your clinic, you would never imagine. And then suddenly, it all comes out. And, so we do take a lot on. So it's fantastic to hear that you really, look after yourself as a practitioner.
Yeah, so I use some of my therapy techniques on myself because I have a PTSD from a RTA that left me disabled, and I have repetitive dreams where that repeats. So that's how I got into dream therapy, by training my brain, and I really liked the field, so I then got into it because I was dream catcher artist anyway, and all my work was about dreams. And then I started retraining my brain to get over my PTSD using dream therapy. I was like, "Do you know what? This is what I need to do. This was what I was meant to do." It was like the universe was going, right, now you've practiced it. It's time to train in it because it's really making your heart sing as you learn. So yeah, that's what I do now.
Oh, that is amazing. And the thing with PTSD is that it's such a difficult thing to treat. There are very few
Yeah.
things that genuinely work for
So
PTSD.
I work with I also help soldiers. I've helped both my brothers who have my brother did 26 years in the forces, and obviously it's left him PTSD over the years. And I help them. They phone me up and they're like dreaming about Bosnia again. I'm like, all right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So I've started working and offering my services to the military. I did 3 years in the military, so I get it. Both my brothers were in the military, so helping soldiers through the trauma of the conflicts they've been in and the things they've seen that day to day people wouldn't realise that they actually see out there. You know, we see bits on the news, but we can never comprehend what they actually see with the naked eye. So helping them sleep better as well is great,
Oh,
because I grew up with my brothers screaming in the night because I'm 11 years younger, and they'd just wake up screaming. And we'd all go running in there and be like, "What's the matter?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm home." And it's like, "Are you okay?" And they're like, "I'm home. Just tell me I'm home," you know. And yeah, so working with soldiers is like a big passion of mine at the moment.
Amy, you're just amazing. You are so amazing. The problem is that, as I understand it, because we've got funnily enough, in the Complementary Medical Association, we've actually got quite a few soldiers, Air Force, Navy. We've actually got quite a few forces people. We've also got a lot of first responders, because I think
Mhm.
what happens is that when they come out of the services, they will tend to gravitate, many of them, towards things like complementary therapy because they have seen it, they've been there, they know and they deeply understand what trauma genuinely is. So it's fascinating to hear your story, and where you've come from and the direct, experience with your brothers. And so the work you're doing is so necessary.
Yeah.
The problem is that in the forces and in first responders environments, they're starting to try to support people. But I've been really shocked because our members, we've got an army major, we've got a sergeant, we've got Air Force people, we've got ex-ambulance crew, many of whom are taking trainings that they've learned through, for example, I run a training on resilience and positive psychology. They're taking that into those environments because they're not, those people in those environments are not being
There
served.
was, yeah, and although the military has come on leaps and bounds since my brother's been over the years, and they're starting to see and help them with their mental health. When my brothers were in, it was still faux pas to speak about mental health, and it was like, well, if you got PTSD, you're going to get demoted, and although they've come on leaps and bounds for the soldiers that were in the 90s and in the 80s, now is too late for them. So you're having to go back, and they're still reliving it all. They're still reliving the Falklands and Afghanistan and everywhere else, and Bosnia. But there wasn't the help then that there is now.
And it's, and it's interesting, isn't it, that there is such a high level of homelessness in ex-forces people. And it comes back, I think, full circle to what you're saying. If you don't sleep well, you cannot function. Your personal relationships get destroyed. It's just this whole sort of vicious cycle, isn't it, that just goes round and round and round. And yeah, so I mean, it's fantastic that more provision is being made, but also we've got you there doing this work as well. So obviously in the CMA, what we want to do is to shout you from the rooftops and signposts towards you so that people can find you easily. So on that topic, Amy, what is the best way for people to be able to contact with
So
you?
the best way to contact me is through my website or my email address. So my website is www.rainbowpoochy.co.uk.
Yep.
And my email address is rainbowpoochy@gmail.com, and they're the two best ways to contact me. There's a direct link to book a discovery call right at the top of my website. Yeah, they're the best way to contact me. And if you type Rainbowpoochy in any social media, I pop up.
Right. So that's rainbow, like a rainbow, and then Pooch,
Yeah,
Poochy. Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's it.
Okay, lovely. We'll put that on in the show notes as well. So if you're watching this on video, you can just click that little arrow or click the more, and you'll be able to get Amy's contact details there as well. Amy, this is amazing work. At some point, I think we're going to have to do a much longer session with you because you're a phenomenal woman, and it's been an absolute pleasure, honest and an honor to be able to speak with you.
Been an honour. It's an honour to be a member, to be honest.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Well, no, that is lovely. We work very, very, very hard on behalf of our members. And, when we get to meet you, it just all becomes so worthwhile. It really does. We're very lucky to have the most amazing people as CMA members. So honestly, Amy, hats off to you for everything you're doing. Thank you so much for being so brilliant. And I'll love you and leave you and let you get on with spreading your magic in the world. But thank you for joining us. It's been an
Thank you
absolute
for having me.
pleasure. Take care.